everyone. Today we have a special guest, Alan Klingbeil, from cybersecurity to actor to sportsman. Alan, how are you today?
I am doing so well. How are you, Julio?
Yeah, very good. Appreciated your time here. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course,
So
thank
it's
you.
a very interesting journey you have. So Alan is currently a cybersecurity specialist in U.S. Air Force, but also the sports professionally and modeling. So, Alan, if you would describe yourself to audience, how would you describe you? Who is Alan Klingbeil?
Um, can I ask you real quick? Is the music normally playing during this time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just turned it a bit down. Sorry.
Oh no, that's totally fine. Yeah. Who am I? I am. I'm a cyber defense operator for the United States Air Force. I'm an actor. I'm a professional athlete. I do mixed martial arts as well as I'm signed with Power Slap to be one of their light heavyweight strikers in that new sport. So I guess that about sums me up. Yeah, I mean I'm a husband and I am also um, I'm many things. Yeah.
Okay. So what I mean, how this journey started? I mean, because it's very mixed profile. You have many skills. You have expertise in many areas. How all this journey started for you?
um. Yeah. I mean, I guess as a small child, I incurred a lot of um. There was a lot of gang violence and things like that in the area that I initially grew up in, and so that kind of started me down my mixed martial arts journey. I started doing that, and that was both to just kind of keep me in a safe place, as well as allow me the opportunity to, learn. Uh, well, initially it was Taekwondo, and I did that, and I
Sure.
got to the Olympic level, and I was able to, compete very well through that, and essentially the reason why we ended up being because of the gang violence. But I was able to find other martial arts to become proficient in, and eventually started pursuing amateur MMA. Um, Due to COVID, I, had to kind of figure out something new to do, and so I started down the IT path. Um, and I had some previous experience with missionary work and things like that. And I started pursuing a degree in IT, and then I started working for the Air Force in a cyber, defense role.
Okay.
And in between some of those events, I became an actor as well. And then, was able to do quite a bit thanks to the show Walker. Big shout out to them. They gave me every opportunity to kind of like, cut my teeth more or less on all the different aspects of acting. So I would say that in and of itself was so helpful for my acting background and to understand things, to be able to watch people and be able to even be able to stand in sometimes for some of these like phenomenal actors,
Sure.
which I really valued because you got to see the creative process behind like, why am I doing this? What sort of approach am I going to have? Like, how are my shoulders? Like, what is my, like, why are we doing such and such thing? And there's such a process to the purpose behind whatever an actor does on the screen. And sometimes it's rushed, don't get me wrong, but there's quite a bit of creative play from the main actors there. And to be a part of that was huge for me. I got to do some minor action scenes. That was super cool. Being from Texas, loved being a Texas Ranger on
Sure.
that show. That was huge for me. Obviously, the mixed martial arts background, Chuck Norris, like, the whole thing, right? So I would say that that kind of started that journey with the so mixed martial arts came back into play when I started doing a power slap. It gave me an opportunity to get back into that realm in more, mostly because I'm a little bit older than some of the folks, and so even though I did amateur MMA, you're looking at people saying like, hey, like maybe you should choose something else. And so Power Slap kind of reintroduced me back into that realm, and I got to be around some of the top tier
Sure.
mixed martial artists, and they could see, like, oh, he has talent, he's still currently training, and so that's given me an opportunity and a roadmap that most people don't have. Um, just and I'm not very old, obviously. I'm 32, but as far as mixed martial arts goes, that for a lot of people that seems old, and the truth is there's a lot of fighters that fight well into their 40s.
Sure.
So that's what I'm looking at, and yeah, a decade of fighting. Well, that's huge to me. At the professional, on the global stage, to fight the best fighters in the world and try and become one of the best martial artists. In this lifetime, I think is a huge thing for me. But I will say this: I think acting and mixed martial arts, they have such an overlap with each other, because acting is about mastering yourself so that you can become the truth of whoever the character is that you're playing, whatever role you're playing, right? And I would say the same is for martial arts, whether it's mixed martial arts or it's a particular one like Muay Thai or Taekwondo or even boxing. I would consider a mixed martial art, and
Mhm.
you have to understand yourself well enough and your opponent, and to be able to react and to create this dance out on the stage, right? And so that's I would say those things are like basically what summarized my journey with that. And as far as being married, had a wonderful opportunity to meet my wife after being a missionary, and we
Sure.
did some missionary work together. And yeah, she drives me, she compliments me. We are we're a powerhouse couple. She's very
Sure.
much behind the scenes. She doesn't like to be on camera or anything like that, and I'm more of an entertainer, of course. So that about sums up who Alan
Outstanding.
Klingbeil is. Yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So, I mean, how do you feel yourself in all these roles? Because I mean, it must be in some days a lot of agitating because you're running from one point to the other. I mean, how do you feel normally, doing all this at the same time?
Well, I think the reality of it is anyone who's like massively successful, and I think you can speak to this, is that there's something inside of you that drives you to want to be better
Sure.
and to be somebody valuable to society, and that can inspire others and help others, and that's what drives me. And so I whether it's ADHD or it's just a passion that burns in my heart, I don't know, but I feel a great sense of purpose in trying to be someone who can help lead the future to a better place, because yeah, maybe today is secured, but tomorrow you need new leaders, you need new people in place that have lived life, lived it to the full, and can help in so many different areas. And I've had role models like that. I look up to people like that, and I want to be that person, and so that's what I'm striving to be. So it's not an agitation to me. There are some days
Sure.
where I'm demotivated, obviously, just like anything. It's you come across some massive difficulties, and you come across the naysayers too much, or even sometimes people close to you say something to you that can just like, it just absolutely guts you, but deep down in your heart you got to keep pushing forwards. And so I would say that sums up my emotional and mental and spiritual sort of drive behind that.
Yeah, it's one aspect that it's very important. I mean, take it all as experience, and go as it comes, because I mean, you cannot guess the future. So we just, have that drive and that perseverance to trying to achieve the goals where you want to get, and just follow through as all experience. So of course, people need to understand all this is not a field of roses. That there's down ups. So in the end, it's a matter of how strong you are mentally to get up faster when you fall. I think that's the perspective of people need to understand about this, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you started this experience with Chuck Norris and Texas Rangers, how was it? I mean, tell us a bit about that.
Oh man. Yeah, the first day on set, I was just meant to be a background. And I was that day, and they the main character of the show, who took the role of Walker, is Jared Padalecki, who is also a Texas hero in the acting world. And he's a bit of a fighter himself, so uh, that there's that camaraderie there, right? And but anyway, I had watched him growing up. He went to the same high school that my half sister went to, and so he was a household name, right? So those two kind of combinations of things. Being on the set, I got to be, right next to the guy like right away, and I would say you don't know that unless because I've seen other people go and do background gigs and things like that, and they just,
Sure.
like you're way far away from whomever, and you just kind of get to get a glimpse or whatever. But I really got to interact and be around them, and they invited me back to be, a regular Texas Ranger on the show. That was just, I was through the roof, when just over the moon, right? Like who doesn't want like that sort of situation? Like, hey,
Of
uh,
course.
one of your favorite actors, somebody who's a bit of a role model to you, and you've seen on the screen, thinks you're worthy enough to be a regular part of a television show with them. Like that's, I couldn't, it's really hard to sum up into words, but you put in so much effort, you take chances, and then occasionally they come to fruition, and sometimes it's in a way that you could never imagine. So I would say that's how I felt that day.
Amazing. And I mean, how was the acting, the team itself? What was the insight of that? I mean, you enjoyed the whole thing. How was your knowledge? Of course,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you had a lot of experience in there, right?
Well, I didn't have any in the like as far as like professional television or film goes, right? I would say I did minor projects, and I did some local commercials, and I did
Sure.
theater. I when I was a missionary, a lot of what I did was skit based. So I ran a team of people. We would create skits for children and teenagers and things like that, and we did local things there too. For the community, and but yeah, that was the first time I really had like the opportunity to be professionally involved in a project for quite a long amount of time. And so, I mean, from a project management aspect, it's really like I would say that's a really unique experience. You see the set, you see the stage, you see how they rebuild things or what location they use, and you have these
Hmm.
guys that are like huge that just put together these little. I'm terrible with technical terminology, but like they're meant for cameras or whatever else, and they're bringing in construction equipment to like shade you from the sun, and and you get to see the actors. They're interacting with each other, interact with you, and they were so fun, and they were so kind. And I thought, like, from what I knew of Hollywood, it was like they're probably going to chew you out if you screw up, right? And there was only one person ever on the set that like kind of did that sort of thing, and they were gone, pretty quickly. So they moved into a different show. They didn't fire him; they just moved into a different show, right? So,
Amazing.
um,
Amazing.
but yeah, the cast. I mean, I can only speak wonders to. All of them were very kind, hilarious people, and it was a very funny, fun family environment. And obviously, there's always difficulties, and people might have an off day, but I never felt like, especially from the main cast, I never felt any sort of negative, energy or vibes or rudeness from them. They understood that like everyone is at a particular part of the journey, and if you show effort and you really want to be a part of it, I think, they saw that, and they wanted to help guide me. Like one time I was walking by Kobe Bell in a scene, and you had to kind of improvise, and I was doing something kind of funny with my head, I guess, because I do that
Sure.
in the military, right? Like you just nod and you keep walking or whatever. And so I've never seen anybody do it, but it was almost like a ventriloquist. He walked by me and he was like, just say good morning, Captain, and don't do that thing with your head. And then he kept walking, and it was so quick, and I was like, how did he do that? But it was such like phenomenal advice, and I felt so honored that he even felt the need to like kind of help me in that moment, because no one else was giving me that direction, but they kept redoing the take, and I was like, I feel like it's me, but no one's saying anything. And just there are so many experiences. One time I got to be right next to Jared Padalecki, and we're in this like subway station, and we're taking down bad guys, and I got to sweep somebody's leg and put them in some handcuffs and take their gun
Sure.
away and stuff, and just things like that. You can't.
Did,
It's hard
did
to
you
fathom.
did you
Yeah.
made like a lot of action frames, like running or jumping or something that was really difficult to do in between?
Um. Yeah, there were a few times. Like that particular scene that I'm talking about. We had to run, and we had to get from A to B in like a dead sprint, basically, and then
Okay.
execute these actions. And so, and then you had to do it around the cameras and everything, and you have the main actor you got to be fully aware of, because you can't, like, the scene is about them, right? So you can't
Sure.
impede them in any way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, I mean, we did a few takes, and I say a few, I mean, quite a few actually. And so you're trying not to sweat. They're like, hey, you got people literally like, hey, can you not sweat so much? You know, like, I don't want to get cut from the scene, you know, like, um,
Amazing.
just that sort of thing. And I will say there was one where we had to, they, um, they were kicking in a door in the scene. And so
Sure.
it was really unique to watch them set it up to how it, looks like it's just breaking easily, or whatever. And we had to do that scene probably 30 times. And in the midst of that, the way the house was set up was like, same thing. You had to like sprint in, but then you had to like duck underneath this camera for a certain part of like, so you had to run, kind of like time it just perfectly, like duck down, go underneath, and I had to run into this kitchen and then do the same thing where I had to like put somebody in handcuffs or whatever. After we were
Amazing.
like, stop. And I would say that one was pretty physically difficult as well. All the other stuff was just fun, good times, like driving a police car and, doing circles and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, amazing work, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it must be a really exciting experience to have that, on the background. Amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially, yeah, because like as a Texas Ranger, you were quite featured, and I don't know, they really helped you like understand, like, because there were like seasoned actors that were just kind of chilling being a ranger because they needed older folks, and then there was the young guns like us that were out there just trying to learn, just trying, like I said, just trying to cut our teeth, like figure out how do I, like, just dumb things, right? Like, how fast am I walking, or like how fast am I turning around this chair to look back at the main actor or whatever. And it's just, yeah, I can't thank them enough. I hope I didn't really get a chance to thank them properly, or do a proper goodbye. I hope one day I get the opportunity to do that. So.
I mean, if you had to thank some names, would you mention some names that you more engage with, during this?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of guys. There's definitely Phil. He was on the set. I'm terrible with last names. The only person I know for sure, their last name was Adam Gates, and he was our costume guy. And that
Okay.
guy, I mean, he was an upstanding gentleman, and he's done like Scorsese, movies and things like that. So he could be somebody who's just kind of like barking orders at you and like, shut up. But he was just so kind, such a gentleman. Phil, same thing. Phenomenal director. Gosh, it's been a while since I've been with them. There was another guy. His name is Greg. He was an AD. I really love that guy. I hope he's doing well. He was pursuing being a director, so I hope he's managed to secure that. There's a guy named Carl Thomas. He was one of the other Rangers,
Okay.
and he kind of took me underneath his wing, and he was a former Air Force member, and he kind of like mentored me and like helped me, because sometimes you get nervous, and some of that's just due to like dehydration because the AC's out, and you've done the scene a million times, and they've done a great job of preventing anyone else from seeing it, but you're just sweating buckets, and
Sure.
and so you naturally get into these situations you're not necessarily prepared for because it's a new environment or whatever, right? So, and he did a great job of just like taking me underneath his wing and encouraging me and asking me to, to keep coming back basically. And like he was just like, if you stick with me, I'll help you through this. And I believe he's like a lawyer, actually. I think he's somehow involved with the legal side of the entertainment. So that's part of his role, was like his firm or whatever was involved with that. So he was a lot more, he was a G on the show. That's all I'm saying. Everybody knew who Carl
Sure.
was.
Sure.
I was very
Amazing.
blessed. Very blessed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really exciting. So, you mentioned you did also some missionary work. Would you like to detail a bit more about, where about you did, and in which countries? Was it several, or?
Yeah, it was several. I would say the majority of my work was in the UK,
Okay.
and so it was working with like underprivileged youth and sometimes affluent youth as well, as it intersected. But yeah, basically the whole idea was to like there's a million churches there, and they don't have any young people coming to them, and there was I guess moral values have decreased a little bit in society, and the idea was to not necessarily I mean, the idea is obviously a Christian background, so the whole goal would be to, hopefully that
Sure.
they would pursue Christ. But at the end of the day, the heart was to help kids in bad situations learn how to be, morally upright people who knew that they were worth pursuing their own future, because a lot of them live off of a welfare type system or,
Sure.
and if not, then they think, oh, I'm just going to do this one thing and my life doesn't mean very much, and I would say I was blessed to be around some really top tier people in society while I was a teenager, and that helped inspire me and let me know that like a good person to throw out would be Phil Green. He's the current CEO and chairman of Frost Bank, which is a huge bank in the United States, right? And he started out working at a place called Firestone, which is it's like a tire and lube shop, for vehicles.
Okay.
And he went to community college. He eventually went to a bigger university after that, and then worked his way up from being a teller all the way up to I think he was the CFO, or yeah, that's right. He was the CFO, and then he became the CEO, and then the chairman as well of this huge bank, right? So I believe it's multinational, and I had a few people like that in my life, and that's so having that experience and being a Christian, I wanted to use that opportunity to do the same thing for other people, and I did get to do that, and so I think one of the greatest things was it was always the little things that help kids see, like, I can be a winner. I can be somebody who is valuable to society. I can partake in and be valuable to myself as well as other people. And, like it sounds so basic, but at the time, at least for those kids, it was helpful.
Amazing work. Adorable, really. I mean, I think it's something that everyone should experience, help fellow citizens, in different conditions. And also is an experience of thrill, because you get to experience other emotions and feeling good because you're doing a good action in your life. I mean, I think definitely it's a very good experience for anyone. So going back to media, did you actually did other movies after Texas Rangers?
I've done some short films. I think the biggest thing I have coming up are feature films. One has unfortunately been delayed. That was shooting for March. So I have one coming up in June and July, and one of them is a major film. And I'll be playing a detective, and I'm sort of like the sidekick kid who just graduated university and is trying to learn his way in being a detective in this Greek mythology mystery crossover, and I'm very excited about that. So it'll be a very huge role for me, and I don't know. I feel like I'll get to be more of an actor in that. Sometimes the roles that I've been in, it's just very generic. It's like, these are your lines, this is how you do it, execute. Which is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally all about that, but this one seems a little bit more playful and thorough of a role where you really get to showcase yourself and be a part of the character, I feel like. So go ahead.
Is there a date for when it is expected to come out, this movie, or are you just starting the actual filming on June?
Filming in June and July, so I'm presuming they're aiming to either, at the earliest, would be if it goes to streaming as opposed to theaters, would be December or January of next year. So December of this year or January of next year. So I think that's the intent, as far as I understand it from the information that they sent over to me.
Can you tell the name of the movie, or
yes. I've been credited with it, so it's Nikos. And so it's on my IMDb page, and I'll be playing a character named Andreas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
You are procuring any other roles besides this one?
Yes,
what
sir.
is your journey? Let's just say.
Before that filming, early June, I'll be filming a military film, which I'm super excited about because it touches on just general reintegration after a military career in society. And it also deals obviously with unfortunately with the factor of people taking their own lives, and then the sad side of it, but also the recovery and redemptive side of it. And so I'm excited because the person who wrote it and is directing it is a former special forces guy who really saw combat quite a bit and understands from both his own life as well as his buddy's life into reintegration, and just a career civilian life, like what that's like and what, how to bring that to life really. So he's writing from a very personal place. And I think I was very excited about that because it's more of a passion project for me, to be honest, because
Sure.
I don't know. I feel for it as somebody who is a member of the military. And then also I have family members who are former and friends. And there's just a lot to it that you can't understand unless you're a part of it. And so I feel like this will really show people more than just the PTSD or, the darkness or just blood and violence. Like this will really bring out, like, what does it mean to be a member of the military and to try and just be a normal human being after that,
Of
Yeah.
course, of course. So, just moving on to sports. I mean, what is your goal in UFC or in SLAP? What is your goal to reach? I mean, you want to get into real championship and move on, and play with the real players, or it's just a short move within your career?
Well, I definitely want to be the champion in my weight division. And so
Okay.
I was very close. I was technically number one early on, and I had a loss, and then I didn't get to compete due to military deployment conflicts. So that
Okay.
dropped me down to number six. I went up to number five last year, and I dropped back down to number six recently due to a period of inactivity as well. But hopefully, very soon, I'll get to compete again. I'm actually competing right now. Some of the light heavyweights that should help set me up to whomever they would like me to fight next. So I'm looking
Okay.
to fight a top. I mean, it'll definitely be a top 10 person. Hopefully, it would be a top five so that I could, if I get a knockout, I could secure an opportunity to, maybe get a championship fight, which would be huge for me. I think if I get that opportunity, I'll knock it out of the park and I can rest a little bit more easy, just defending the belt or whatever. I think, yeah, I'm there. I'm at the cusp. I'm in the top
Sure.
10. I've
Sure.
been in the top 10. I have not, left that. And it's been a huge honor and blessing. And I think Dana White and Frank Lamacella and Erica Olsthorn and Hunter Campbell and et cetera, et cetera. Like Joey Varner, phenomenal guy as well. Yeah, the list goes on and on. But yeah, very unique opportunity. Has brought me back into the MMA realm. I am looking to do some professional fights here soon.
Okay.
I can't say when or with whom at this current time because I signed NDAs and they
Sure.
are in
Sure.
the process of creating those events. So I guess that would compromise that, right? But I got some pro fights on the way, and I'm very very excited about that. So
Can you disclose a future date for a fight, or it's not possible?
I can at this time. I really
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to. I
Okay.
saw before this interview. I asked, and they said not at
Sure.
this time yet. So uh, soon, it's very soon. So
Okay.
um,
We'll keep us posted on that.
absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
Keep me in your prayers. So,
Absolutely. I think. I mean, you at least are a person with the will. So I mean, that tells a lot about you. It doesn't matter how you are or what is the status currently. You want always to move forward, and that's very important. Because current society, people think that achieving the goals is just to get there. No, man, it's there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of setbacks most of the times. You just need to keep on pushing forward, and you are a true example of this. You're
thank
just
you.
continuing, and that's the way to carry on the journey of life. In the end, it's a lesson for everyone that hears this that you should never stop. Right?
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much. That's very gracious coming from you. I know you have quite the extensive background yourself. So, so it's a
No,
huge honor
I
to be
mean,
able to talk to you about it.
in the end, it's about for people who will be hearing us to make a shortcut, because myself, I'm getting to 50, right? So all I've been through and the journey I did, of course, I have a lot of setbacks. I knew how to get up faster, but of course, if I can avoid other people to pass what I passed, that will be really an achievement for me because I know I'll be helping people. In the end, it's about not making other people wasting time with things that I probably have the solution for certain aspects. And this is what what we're trying to tell people will be hearing us. It's important because having the experience on skin, of course, it's fundamental. It's not about reading, it's not about scripts. You need to pass through to know exactly what it is and how to go through it. But once you have that experience, of course, you can tell other people how to thrive and make some shortcuts because you already know what it is to get to certain aspects. And I think that's very important because in today's society, a lot of people don't do this because they're afraid to moving forward. The unknown. There's unknown in journey. I mean, me myself. Now I'm talking to you. Tomorrow, I don't know. I mean, you cannot control time. You cannot control the environment around you. So if you
Right.
think in all these things and it's so complex in the end, you never end the thought. But you shouldn't think even. You just get that common sense and get it to the goals that you want to achieve and commit because if you don't start you never get there and you never know how it is to get there. I think that's the main aspect of the experience, right? So don't I always tell to people never be afraid to commit, and I definitely I feel proud of you because you never were afraid to commit, even knowing that you don't know what's going to happen after, but you still do it. And that's really the achievement, and that's the drive that everyone should have.
Thank you very much. I live I live by many things, but I would say one of my ethos is it is a scripture, right? It means it's to live as Christ and to die as gain. And so
Sure.
I try to live my life by that. And, and I have had unique experiences that kind of, one could argue it makes it easier for me, right? Like near death experience might open up your mind to a life with, a bigger understanding of like there is so much at stake and there's so little time and you only have certain moments to enjoy things and one
Yeah,
day it'll be gone
yeah,
and hopefully you've left the world in a better place than the way it was when you got there. And that, I guess, that for me is huge. That is what drives me at the end of the day, is to enjoy it, to be a blessing to the people around me as much as
yeah.
possible, and to leave a better place when I go.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Because in the end, even if you don't have kids, you always need to think about, future grandchild. I mean, how is going to be the environment? How is going to be, the world or for future generations even? What is there? Because if you see today, if people actually have more common sense when they do certain actions, we wouldn't have so many conflicts that we have in today. I mean, there's a huge amount of conflicts. People ignore each other and their values. I mean, in society in these days, people just ignore others and they just think about themselves, but they don't think that today it can be others, but tomorrow it can be you. And in the end, we all have to be, compassionate to fellow citizens because that's the correct value of to approach the journey. Because if you share opinions or if you share a conversation with anyone, you definitely learn something from the other person. That person will learn things from you, and in the end, it's shared knowledge. And this is how society should work, right? I mean, what do you think?
I definitely, yeah. I mean, you've said it very well. That is exactly how it should work. 100%. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you cannot disclose, so we'll keep us posted on future fights of you.
Yes.
I'll definitely will be on that. So moving on, we were also Miss World. I mean, representing Mississippi, right? How was that?
That was a unique journey. Being a Texan, I've gotten a lot of flack about representing Mississippi, and of course, I lived there for um, a long enough of time to qualify as a representative for that. And but I will tell you that it was a really unique experience. I've been a part of a lot of firsts and things that started, and so there was a lot of that involved. I think amidst that, though, you always have a tight knit group of people, and that's the best part. Is I'm still, you know, I would say I'm still friends with quite a few people, and we encourage each other, and we send each other messages, and we, like, hey, I got this thing going on. Can you like give me a shout out or whatever? And so I think it's a lovely thing, and I really it took me out of my comfort zone
Sure.
to try and be a model in the way that competition was set up. Like if it was just typical runway model, like you're just kind of like, okay, I'm a part of this show, not a big deal. But you were really putting yourself on the line on that one, right? So I took some creative liberties there, and some people really loved them, and some people didn't. And I think that was the best part, though. Like one of the highlights for me was the judges hated it, but we had this like swimwear show the night before like the final competition, and I did some things, and it made the whole crowd laugh,
Sure.
and I loved it, and quite a few people loved it, but the judges, they were not so much on board with it, right? And I'm still happy about my choice, though, because in that moment I made everyone feel like this is not such a serious thing.
Comfortable.
This can,
Yeah,
yeah,
just feeling
exactly.
comfortable. Getting out of the comfort zone, it doesn't mean necessarily that is unpleasant. I mean, sometimes it's necessary because people, I guess, they're all understand. I mean, I haven't been in that world, so I mean, I don't have that experience, but I would guess you feel under pressure, right? Because everyone is looking at you. I mean, how you felt when we were in that position.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of judgment there, and it was an LA crowd, and I don't know how to explain it unless you've been a part of an LA crowd before, but they're very judgmental. So it's like they're very much critiquing you 100%. And I
Oh
was like,
my
I
God.
look good, but like, am I LA good? Like, I don't know.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. So you had a tough crowd there, right?
absolutely. Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, it could have gone sideways 100%, but I was like, I'm committed to making these people laugh. So I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Amazing job. Amazing job. And I mean, how long was this and how did it started? I mean, you commit to them, they got in touch with you. How was the whole story?
They reached out to one of my managers, and it was just kind of like a rogue opportunity. And um, someone was like, "Hey, this would be good exposure for you, and
Sure.
help you into the LA community a little bit more." And it was, and I got an opportunity to indirectly to be on Fox News to talk about Power Slap and the election and Donald Trump.
Sure. Sure.
And because I personally was voting for him. If that's probably going to lose me some roles there, but that's just being honest, right? Like that's how I felt, and
Yeah.
that's who I ended up voting for, and so they brought me on, and it was a huge success, and it really helped not only represent the young people that were on board with that, because there was kind of like this stigma that young people have nothing to do with this man, but the truth was and is that there were quite a few people my age and younger that really wanted to see that political candidate be a possibility, right? So but on top of that, I got to also represent Power Slap. So it's
Okay.
huge. It's had like Dana White involved and everything like that. And so I would say overall my experience was great, and it also provided me indirect opportunities to be a part of that community. And I've also been invited back as like a potential analyst whenever I'm out that way. So yeah, I love Mr. USA. I hope you guys are I hope whoever takes on the mantle of Mr. Mississippi wins this upcoming year 100%. So,
Amazing. If you like to thank, people or a group, who do you thank in that organization?
yeah, I would. There's a guy named. Um, I feel like everybody got credited except for this guy, so I'd really like to say there's a man named John Garula, and was a former White House staff member during
Okay.
the Clinton administration. So he, when I say staff member, he was one of the people that counseled him. You know, like he
Okay.
was, yes, he was a pretty important dude, right? And he just helps do so many things behind the scenes. And you know, I think those are people that you really need to acknowledge sometimes, even though you know they're not necessarily the person that is being presented for the show or whatever. He has a unique talent, unique skill set. He can organize parties. He brought
Sure.
in Tiffany Haddish and crap, I'm on the fly here. He brought in another celebrity that I can't think of off the top of my head. He's huge. Um, I can't think of his actual name, so I won't say it. I'm very sorry.
Yeah,
However,
that's fine. It's fine.
he plays Trudy Judy. He's in Hot Tub Time Machine. Trudy
Sure.
Judy on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like the guy's he's like one of the best actors of all time. He's so
Amazing.
funny, and he's musically talented. Anyway, he came in, he played the piano, and then one of our guys did a rap with him, like a comedy type bit. And Tiffany has, she's a huge comedian. For whoever's watching, and it is all because of this man John Garula that this happened, right? So I want to thank him, and I also want to thank. I had a roommate. His name is Voy Pearson, and he's a model, and he does all this other
Okay.
stuff, and but we both just inspire each other, and we both still message, and you know, we're good friends. So I want to thank him as well.
Amazing. Amazing work. Amazing work. So, just moving a bit ahead. So, how you see yourself within the next, let's say, 5, 6 years? I mean, what are your goals in each of the areas? Do you want to continue in U.S. Air Force? You want to continue UFC? You want to continue modeling or movies? I mean, what is your goals at the moment?
I'm looking to advance my film and acting career as well as my professional fighting career. And so you know, I'm going to continue in the Air Force until that becomes a reality, more or less. There's some opportunities to extend your contract by like 1 year at a time, and I'm in a critical role, so that seems to be it's very likely at this moment. So I'll keep, you know, doing projects and films, and I see 2026 as my foundational year. That you know, I say foundational, not that all the accomplishments I have aren't, you know,
Sure,
worthy of something, but
sure.
you know, I'll be doing a big film. There's a possibility I might get a championship fight this year with Power Slap. I'm doing two fights at the very least, professional mixed martial arts, which could all kind of help lead towards a you know, a contract with UFC. Hopefully, is the goal. I don't know that Dana White would be on board with that, but if he was, you know, that would be phenomenal. And if not, you know, I'm still gonna sing their praises because you know, Power Slap has been such a wonderful thing, and he's always been so kind to me. So, and their whole staff has. And but yeah, I guess that's what I'm looking to do. Is I believe I can be a top tier actor. I believe I can be one of the
Sure.
best professional fighters, and I believe that you know, like a part of my ethos and my understanding of life is some people are given one or two talents, and some people are given five, and some people are given 10, and it's a waste for me not to try and pursue using them to the utmost degree. If I get to the top and I'm not there, you know, then I can either train some more and keep pursuing it. But if it's just a clear, like, this is just not going to work, you know, then I'll do something else. But you know, I don't see that happening, and I think I've had the evidence that proves I am capable of being a phenomenal actor. I am capable of being one of the best professional fighters out there, and I'm definitely capable of being a champion in Power Slap. So I think I'm very confident about moving forwards, and I have faith, you know, that God has laid the groundwork for me to keep pursuing those.
I definitely wish you all the best in all your future achievements and your goals. I hope you achieve them, and I hope you become the next champion. You know,
Thank you.
that's yeah. For
Thank you.
me, that's you got my support for sure. So, would you like to share the most exciting experience that you had, for example, in the power slap? I mean, there were maybe some fights maybe they were more harder than others. I mean, how was it for you?
Oh man, I there's a guy fighting today. His name's Vern Cathy, and he was in the same position that he's in now. So he was number one. I was number six. Someone unfortunately popped positive for a medication that they had taken like a year ago. A year at that time, a year before, a year prior, right? But
Sure.
it still was in their system, and it was proven, through documentation that they were prescribed such thing, right? But anyway, it still disqualified him from at least that match. And so they called me. They were like, "Hey, do you want to fight this guy? He's the number one guy." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Absolutely, that would be phenomenal." And it, there, yeah, there's not that there aren't other opportunities like this, but just when you're first starting something, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
just massive success, and no one expects you to win. I mean, that's what the case was. I'm pretty sure no one expected me to be the guy to knock this guy out, knock him down. They're like, this guy, he's a nobody. He has no chance. And I trained very hard. And, I went out there, and there was a guy named Ryan Phillips who was coaching me. And they have a picture of it. I gave him like the biggest hug. He's a heavyweight. I'm just like, I got him all the way up in the air. I jumped up as
Amazing.
high as I possibly could. And
Amazing.
um, I cannot describe that moment to anybody, but I knew in that moment, at least for me, it was a confirmation. I'm like, I'm headed in the right direction. I'm always looking for that. I'm like, is what I'm investing in worth my time? Am I going to be successful to achieve a 30-year goal that I have? But in the midst of trying to enjoy it, right? And just such a wonderful, it's an indescribable feeling. You're like, this was the number one guy, and I knocked him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did it so well too. And it was kind of a transitional moment for me, and a confirmation, like, hey, you're meant to be doing these things. So it was great.
So, I mean, definitely that's one big example how people should never be underestimated, right? I mean,
Right.
that's what I always say to people. Everyone has his skills. Everyone has his, back downs. Everyone has his powerful things, his left things, and you should never underestimate anyone. It doesn't matter the size or how the person is. I always say that. I mean, and this is a real example that you just proven to everyone, not back then in that moment, but still in the story, that no one should be underestimated. Everyone is his own qualities. You never know what's going to happen. There's always gaps because no one's perfect. And this is where these examples come up. And I mean, again, I really feel proud of you because
Thank you.
you really proved, to society itself and all the people that were back then with you that no one should be underestimated. And it's a real statement, and for sure that everyone was surprised, right? I mean, what was the expectation after all happened? I mean, what people told you?
I don't know. It just, like, I could tell no one thought that. There was one guy, he bet like $100 on me. He won like 1,000 or something like that. Like, that was the vast, like the betting odds were like very much against me, quite literally. And they even had it
Sure.
up on a screen. And I had like my best friend there, my wife was there, and I had people back in my unit watching, and this was early on, so there was still kind of some hesitancy in the Air Force too. So when I was going up there, there was a lot at stake, as opposed to just like going up and being a moron that like has
Of
no idea
course.
what's going on or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I intend to be here, and I'm sacrificing so much. Like, I knew in my heart I was going to win, but no one else did. And I hit the guy. He went down. They kind of caught him a little bit. And so he was stumbling everywhere, and they gave him another shot, right? So he hit me, and that was the whole thing. Was he was like a one-hit wonder sort of guy. Like, if he hit you, you were out. And I ate it, and I looked him in the face. It was very fierce, and brought a little entertainment value. And I went back, and my coach, Ryan Phillips, he was like, hey, if you can hit him again like you did last time, there's no shot that he can get back up from this. And sure enough, I just knocked him straight down, and he was just doing circles, around the ring. And then he was like, I'm fine. And, I mean, his reaction, and granted, you get blunt force trauma to the head. I don't hold anybody
Sure.
against them, but to see your enemy so distraught, like in that moment, you're like, I want to be respectful, but I'm also a little bit glib that you are so upset about this, because there's no, you just did not expect that to happen. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's really powerful. How heavy is your slap? I mean, how many pounds? Do you ever measure it, or you don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. like off the top of my head, I don't know the scientific weight of this, but there's a machine called a power cube that you can strike,
Sure,
and they
sure,
use
yeah.
it for kicking as well as punching and everything else. So we started using it for slaps, and um, I would say like on the machine with my slap, I'm anywhere between 45,000 to 67,000 is what
Amazing.
I range between. So, and yeah, it is. It's actually like pro strikers are punching at that, at like 58,000, right?
Of
So
course.
I'm like, all right, that's you know, it's a
I mean,
nice
I mean,
feeling to know.
for sure, with a slap like that, you can knock anyone down. I mean, it's. I mean, the head does not take that pressure. It's not possible. It's
Yeah.
amazing, amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So I've been training, and like since my last match, I didn't knock the guy out, but I hurt him pretty bad. But it was a split decision. I lost though, so I'm so mad about it. But anyway, technically my last real match, that was an exhibition match, right? So it didn't count. My last real match I won, but I said, screw it. I'm going to up my physical maxes on bench and all these other things
Sure.
up by at least 50 pounds. And I'm up over 75 pounds on all of them. And I'm like, there's no shot whoever hit next is not going to feel it. And I'm not going to lie. When I practice my slaps, I'm like starting to hurt my own hand. And I'm like, it's never happened before. So I'm like, I cannot wait to get back out there to strike somebody. On the flip side of it, I can't wait to punch anybody or kick them as well. But yeah,
Amazing, amazing,
yeah.
amazing. Amazing journey. I mean, you definitely experience a lot, not only mentally but also physical. Because, for example, get it with all that pressure on the ring, it does set you back, and that even took you to a thrive that to push it even forward. Many people would think. I mean, I've done martial arts fighting long time ago also, and if you have things in mind, you'll never make it because once you get on the ring, you should also focus only on the fight and your adversary, and should not have anything else in your mind. And this is the main drive, to push forward with the pressure that you had at that moment, and especially, of course, no one backing you up. I mean, you were alone, thinking, "Okay, I'm here. I'm going to do whatever, and I don't care about anyone." That's very hard to do. I know this, So,
Yeah.
so again, congratulations for that too. I mean, it's
Thank you.
really amazing work. Yeah, for sure. So, moving a bit on. So, Alan, if you have, to give advice to fellow sportsmen or actors or people, in any type of work, what would you tell them to thrive to their goals and to achieve what they want to achieve?
That's a phenomenal question. And thank you for allowing me to answer it. I think more than anything in the world, where my drive comes, and I think that's one of the most important things is a sense of purpose that I want to achieve with my life overall. And I would say for anybody, if you're an athlete or you're an actor or you're a cybersecurity professional or
Yeah,
you're whatever, and you want to be the best at it, and you actually care, you're probably the type of person that has a little bit of fire in your heart anyway. But just find a reason for your life. Like, what do I want to achieve? Like, and I think about it 30 years from now, from right now at this current age, I have a 30-year goal, and I started down that track and I'm working towards it. And that's on the days I don't want to get up. That's one of the things that motivates me. And it's how can I achieve those things? And it gets your mind in a creative space too. Like, how can I go out of my comfort zone to do this? And it helps you take chances. And that's one of the biggest things you could possibly do in life is just bet on yourself, bet on the passion that you have in your heart. Because if you're a believer in whatever or you're not, like, there is a reason why there is something in your heart. Whatever you believe, doesn't matter. There's a purpose, there's a program, there's something there. There's a spark for that thing on purpose. So you should pursue it. If it's a hobby for you, that's great. Do it to the utmost ability, because when you do that sort of thing, you become the kind of person that's a great friend, a great husband, and a great person in the community, because you are trying to fulfill your purpose. And I can tell you this: last night, I got
yeah,
into one of the biggest car wrecks I've ever gotten into in my entire life. Nothing happened. I'm not injured. my car is completely demolished, and praise the Lord.
Amazing. I thought the story, but I didn't realize because I only saw it today, and I didn't realize that that was your car and you had an accident. I mean, I'm very sorry,
Yes.
man. That's...
No. That's the thank you. But the point here is, I had a moment, and I know a lot of people have this moment when they get into situations like that, and they think, what haven't I done with my life? Like, and people start having an epiphany, and I had it at such a young age, but I'm so thankful that I'm physically capable, I'm mentally capable, and that I have the spiritual sort of metaphysical drive to keep pushing forwards, because in that moment I didn't regret anything. And I knew that I had done everything I could possibly do to keep pursuing my dreams. And when I got out of the car and I saw, it was like on fire a little bit, I just thought to
Amazing.
myself, I'm still going down the right path. I was like, I don't know what happened here. Thank God that I'm not dead, but or injured or whatever. But I just didn't have that regret or that epiphany of like, oh man, I wish I had been doing this with my life already. Just get on track, invest in yourself, believe in yourself,
Yeah.
so that if you ever get into a moment like that, you have the same response. Because I promise you, you will be the best person you could possibly be.
Absolutely. I think it's, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. It's really a wonderful advice to anyone that hears, especially the part that you had a car accident and you're still here doing the recording. I mean, I didn't know because I thought you were making, some advertising of a car shop or something. And I didn't realize that it was actually a car in an accident. So
Yes,
anyway,
yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. I mean, I didn't actually realize
No, that's fine. I mean, and it's a thing, right? So it's always replaceable, and honestly, it's my daily driver.
it. Sure.
But I had a lot of nostalgia to it, so I am sad about it. But I don't know. In that moment, I was so thankful, and I was just thankful where my life is and is where it's going, because I know that I won't give up. And I knew even if I got hurt, I would still keep going. And I hope that you and everybody else in life feels that way. I know you do, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, I definitely do. I think those are the examples that people will take as an example, really, because having that kind of experience, I mean, it's drastic. For some people, can be even mentally exhausting because it's a moment of real stress. I mean, you had a car accident, and for some seconds, you don't even know what's happening, where
yeah,
you are, what you're going to do. Am I fool, but there's something missing,
exactly.
So, so okay,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
alive, everything is fine, so I'm pulling out. But of course, it's the side effect of the afterwards, what just happened, and yeah, I'll just continue. I mean, speaking on my behalf, I would do exactly the same as you've done. But of course, I mean, it's hard to say and people to understand. I did have, several car accidents in my life, and I mean, we're not very severe, but it still is experience,
Of
So,
course. Of course.
and the mental drive that I actually trying to at least educate people how to overcome it is, like I just said before, you never know what's going to happen, you know you have to drive always to your goals. It doesn't matter what happened. If you continue being persistent, you'll get there. Unless there's something very drastic to stop you, because it can happen. But you always need to commit and continue, because that's the life journey, and that's the life lesson that everyone in the end learns. What things can happen and how a person should continue, the normal routine as nothing happened. I know it can be kind of cold explaining it, but this is the exact journey that everyone should do. Because if you start thinking, no, I will not drive because I might have a car accident. I'll not go out because something can fall from the roof. I mean, you cannot live like that. Of course, all these paradigms, of course, can happen, but you cannot control that. So you just need to do whatever you need to do on your daily basis life and continue doing it until you achieve, the journey of your goals. I mean, that's how I used to say to people anyway. So
Couldn't agree with you.
thank you. So I before I finish the show, I always tell my guests to say a power message. what would be your power message today to other people that going to be hearing you, to motivate them and incentivize them to achieve their goals?
I would say dream big and act on it, and then you will live the life that you want to live.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think short, impactful, and make people think exactly if they want to achieve whatever they want to achieve. That you got to have what it takes, right? I mean,
Right.
people think, no, I want to achieve that, but you got to put the work on it. It's just not a matter. It won't come to you if you're not going where you want to go and fight for it and multitask. Sometimes you need to do multitasks in your life to achieve your goals, to achieve what you want to achieve. Of course, you won't get there. I mean, it doesn't matter how many examples we can give to people or how many examples we can try to, teach them. In the end, of course, the person needs to put himself on the track to get there. In the end, it's like that. So people should take, this conversation as a mere example of perseverance is there. I mean, you are a true example in many cases. I mean, on UFC, you had no support. You became, the winner of that fight. You just had a car accident yesterday. You're here. So, I mean, no, honestly, it's a real example for people to think that that's the way you're supposed to be, to achieve things in life. That's what I want to, to leave for people to think about it. Do you like anything else to add, Alan, before we go?
Yeah, just if you get a chance, like and subscribe both of our channels. I promise you will be so inspired. And that's what I aim to achieve, and I know that's what you aim to achieve as well. So please do that.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Alan. So that was all for today. Don't miss next episode. Alan, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with me here
Thank
today.
you.
I look forward to have you again, maybe as a champion.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What is your category, by the way?
I'm the light heavyweight.
Okay.
Yep. So 205 is the maximum you can weigh.
So I hope you get your category, and next time we talk again on this show, you'll be with your belt, showing it up. Julio, I got it, man. It's here. I hope so. So all my best wishes to you and all your career journey. Definitely, we're going to be in touch, and keep me posted about your scenes and when the movie's coming out. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that was all for today. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.